So when you're researching a topic, you've got to this stage and you're like, I've got all these papers, I'm starting to sort of like formulate my own ideas, I'm starting to find gaps, and you can go back to any stage and just be like, okay, well, I need more information on this certain category or subtopic, okay, I'll go back. But knowing when to stop is probably one of the most important things in this, especially if you're in a sort of like time constraint, like you're doing it for an undergraduate review paper or whatever it is. Always be referring back to that first question, that research topic or question. Why are you actually doing this? Have you been able to answer the question with relevant, timely information? Have you been able to formulate your own conclusions or notice any gaps in the research? All of this is going to be important for you to say, okay, I've had enough. And I feel like we always go too far. So if you feel like I just do a little bit more searching, stop. You've probably got enough. If you're still in a position where you're like, I have no idea what's going on with this research, continue that search, continue that filtering process. But if you feel like, okay, I kind of get this, it's time to start. Normally you're researching for a purpose, so just start on that next step. Start on the research, so the physical research in a lab or doing your own unique research if you're doing a PhD or your master's, or if you're formulating an essay, start writing that essay. You'll start to find the smaller gaps and you can always go back through the process to answer questions. But knowing when to stop is super vital because remember, this is a very important part. But normally you're researching for something else. So once you get that inkling you've got enough, move on. So there we have it. That's how I research everything. I guess it starts with a massive, broad overstroke using those kind of tools that we all use, no matter what the topic. Wikipedia, Google Scholar, and Google. And then make sure you understand how to search effectively in Google using the search modifiers. And then I collect that all together and then I start sort of reaching out more. So I look for a review paper, I look for research, I look for journalists' interpretation of research or some new findings or some new information. I start bringing that all together, always going back to the primary source if possible, and then I start reading it and reading it effectively. Like I said, go check out my other video. That's really important for speeding up this process. Not all the information you find is going to be correct, relevant, or even interesting to your research topic. And then knowing exactly when to stop is going to be your superpower in this. Once you go, okay, I kind of get this. I'm starting to formulate my own ideas, or I'm starting to understand how all these moving parts come together. That is when you go, okay, what's the next step? How do I move on? And you have to stop there. Sometimes it doesn't feel right. You can always get more information, but be strict with yourself and move on.